Dallas Cowboys. Jerry Jones. Here he is from yesterday talking to reporters, and we're going to first focus on the fact that the CeeDee Lamb deal is done. Here's Jerry on finally getting his star receiver back in the fold.
CeeDee said when his agent called him and said he had $34 million a year, he was like, where do I sign? How conscious are you in negotiations of the top of the market and where those numbers come in when you negotiate those contracts?
Well, I knew where he wasn't coming in at. And at this time and that time, that was about the only one in the market that I was looking at. Financially, it is not, in most cases, a matter of the money. It's a matter of the use of the term money as it relates to the cap. And if you can get the most players and the better players out there for the least amount under the cap, you're doing your very best job.
Word salad, word salad, word salad. Bottom line is he has one thing in common with Mike Brown, and only one thing. They are both cheap. And this thing could have been done a long time ago. They set a bad deadline. Look at what the Vikings did. Vikings got it right. Mandatory minicamp, that's our deadline. We're getting Justin Jefferson's deal done. Oh, and he's there for mandatory minicamp. He's there for all of training camp. He's there for the preseason, and he's ready to go. Now CeeDee Lamb, with the money that Jerry could have paid him before training camp even started, the same damn deal. No training camp, no preseason, more pressure on Lamb, more pressure on the Cowboys, and the same contract. He didn't pay more, he didn't pay less. He paid the same. That's a whiff by the Cowboys. And the only thing that makes sense is Jerry thought, you know what? We don't need him at camp, but what we do need is to be the biggest story in football. Let's suck the oxygen out of the room with the CeeDee Lamb holdout, and they did.
I agree with you on one part of that and disagree with you on the other part of that. The part I agree with is this could have been done the day after the Justin Jefferson deal. It was not that complicated. CeeDee Lamb never came off of what he wanted. He got what he wanted. The Cowboys started out low and went up and then went up again and then went up again and then eventually came to the number that CeeDee Lamb had the day after Justin Jefferson's deal was done. So this should have been done long ago. And, you know, when you're not in camp and you're not in practice, you work as hard as you want, but playing football is the only way you get in football shape. And you worry about those soft tissue injuries. And Ezekiel Elliott was on a pitch count the first when he came back from his holdout. Now it was a week later, but when he came out back from his holdout, he was on a pitch count and played 35 plays, I think it was, in the season opener that year of his holdout. So you got to be careful with these things. But I think the reason that it didn't get done, Mike, and the reason that Dak Prescott hasn't gotten done, and the reason that Micah Parsons hasn't got done, is Jerry doesn't want to write that check. Jerry doesn't. $38 million signing bonus. I think it's Jerry being cheap, not wanting to write the check.
We agree. He's cheap, like Mike Brown.
I don't think it has to do with him. I don't think it has anything to do with, because if it did, the Cowboys would have signed Saquon Barkley the first day to make a splash. They were not a non-story in March. But
they couldn't. They couldn't because they had to sign Dak, CeeDee, and Micah. They couldn't go all in. They could just say all in.
Well, they haven't done anything in free agency since 2012 when they signed Brandon Carter, a $50 million contract on the first day of free agency. They've done nothing in free agency, and they've done it. And it goes back to the reason why is because Jerry doesn't want to write those big checks, and he hasn't written those big checks. He doesn't like writing those big checks. So it's why Dak Prescott is sitting there without a contract, and the reason that Micah Parsons is sitting there without a contract. And guess what? You risk losing Dak Prescott because I don't know. You tell me, Mike, why would he agree to a contract? He's this close to free agency and having teams bid on him. Why would he agree to a contract right now?
We were talking about this yesterday. Biggest free agent since Reggie White, the original free agent, the guy who was exempt from the franchise tag in 1993. This will be when it happens. And why would you? There's nothing they can do to keep him from becoming a free agent. Why would you not put yourself in that position to see what else is out there before you give a final answer to the Cowboys? We're hovering in the same ballpark. both things can be true. Jerry Jones is cheap. Jerry Jones wants maximum attention and interest and discussion of the Cowboys. So if there's a way he can both be cheap and have maximum interest and discussion, let's do it. So, yeah, I could get more interest in the team if I pay Saquon Barkley, but there's other ways I can do it without paying Saquon Barkley. Let's do it the cheaper way. So I think we're both right on this. I agree with you. He's cheap, and he knows how to take a situation and milk it for all the attention it's worth, and he loves it. He loves it so much that he's not even upset that I'm calling him out for it because I'm talking about him. That's what he wants. And he doesn't care if people are saying he's cheap. He doesn't care because he'd rather us say he's cheap than say nothing about him at all. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.